Hello, good morning, and I'm Dave Petso, sitting in for Kevin Miller. And yes, I'm here. I am live and would love to visit with you at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you prefer email, my email, I'm going to change it this time, right, because I don't know how else to get it, right? So it's dave@petsofinancial.net. Now, over the next 3 hours, we're going to talk all across the board. Of course, I'll talk a good amount of finance, but we also want to talk about what you want to talk about. And I was thinking, what do I want to talk about? What's kind of on my heart? And it's almost always it's a financially related thing. So I was trying to think a little outside of the box. And one of the things that just struck me as to how difficult it is for all of us to deal with our finances, deal with our life, is because the world is upside down. It's completely upside down. My beautiful girl last night was just kind of said, we were sitting there watching the president and babysitting a grandkid, and it's just like, something came up. And it's just, we got to get out of here. It was kind of her comment. It's like, this just makes no sense. Things don't make any sense. It's like the Democrats that have wanted the wall. Chuck Schumer stands up and gives a huge dissertation multiple times in the last 10 years about how we have to have a wall. Not now. Dianne Feinstein, same thing. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on and on and on of all the people. Obama, Biden, it just, I'm sure I'm missing a dozen, right? Have all said, of course we have to have security. But when Trump's president, we now don't want to do the right thing. I just don't, what world is this? It's weird. Like the fellow who was on before, and honestly, I can't remember his name, but talking about Islam and how, and the left, and how backwards it is that he's trying to save young women, Muslim women, from having their genitals mutilated. But he's the racist. He's the Islamophobe. And and the list goes on. We don't have to think very long about how that is absolutely true. And I remember what it was we were watching. And I think it was on something on Fox about men at the American Psychological Association now have come out with this important notice. Masculinity is bad. It's like, what? So now men are bad. So what does that mean? How confusing is that? Oh, you're a young boy, don't become a what? Do we now need a whole new book of what not to be? Do we need a whole new book to teach us to be women? I wasn't born a woman. Wall Street Journal does an incredible article. I just couldn't even believe how good it was because it was so concise. Some college professor who studies in all this gender identity stuff. And so she interviews, I believe it was 19 women. All highly educated, liberal women whose beautiful daughters are growing up and are now off to college and now are like going hormones. Because they're not sure. They're confused right now. So they're kind of, testing out the waters. See what it's like to maybe become a guy. But the thing is like, you can't take the hair off in your chest back. You can't reattach the breasts. I mean, these are life-changing, permanent things. And get this, apparently you can go to Planned Parenthood and get hormones, and you don't even have to be seeing a shrink. That'll go well. Well, if you just kind of wake up one day and you feel like you want to go get some hormones, you're not sure, and you're having no guidance, professional guidance at all on this. That's no problem at all. What could go wrong? A few hormones. And why should we have rules on 18-year-olds getting dangerous drugs? Why have rules? Remarkable. Incredible piece. Not right-leaning at all. Not at all. Just a psychologist going, a college professor going, huh? These women are not in flyover country. These women are progressives. Not that that's good or bad. The point is it certainly didn't come from some right-wing place. It's just upside down. It's crazy. How do people invest in an upside-down world? You know? How do they? I mean, when people are worried about things, are they really worried about the market? Are they worried about the politics? Are they worried about... I don't even understand the world I'm in. I mean, I have no idea what's coming next. We have a bunch of people that have never lived life, don't run any businesses, just now they're rock stars. Hey, here's a pretty lady. Let's put her on TV. She's a new super queen of the House of Representatives. I want to know what she thinks. Yeah, that's great. Let's have 70% tax rates. That's working really well in places like New York and New Jersey. Illinois has a mass exodus of people leaving there as well. Connecticut does too. All of them have this one thing in common. Are you ready? Yes, we have a super high tax state. High regulation. We want you to leave. Well, we don't want you to leave, but we want you to leave your money. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave. And they do. That doesn't stop them. Well, we'll better raise taxes some more. Some more leave. Why let the facts get in the way of a really grand idea? So let's do this on the whole basis of the whole country. Now that's what I call a rock star. That is just genius level thought. Genius. Just well thought out. She's so smart. No wonder she's in the House of Representatives. She must have much more background and brilliance than I ever thought. I know it'll fade away, but it's this incredible run to the left. It's this incredible obstructionism. The question is does this end well? Does it feel upside down to you? Because it sure feels upside down and weird to me. I mean, I just don't even know how to answer a question from obviously somebody like in Seattle or Portland or San Francisco, because people aren't that wacky in flyover country. But what kind of psychologist actually says masculinity is bad? What nonsense is that? I understand that some people have a really bad daddy wound, or somebody was abused, or what have you. But the idea that men and women are different and what we need to do is blend them together? I mean, what? Masculinity is bad. As I often say, when I'm just like, I don't know, I can't stand it anymore. I just need a spear to jump on, What in the world is going on? And I know you think, well, what does this have to do with the markets and everything else? Look, part of this doesn't have to do with the markets. But I think part of it has everything to do with the markets. With our life, with the schools, with everything. We're like headlong, full-blown speed, running in the weirdest directions possible. Like, we don't have any problems in the world, except what we need to do is figure out how to stop masculinity. Really? That's like one of the big psychological problems out there. It's not the fact that we have an unbelievable amount of depression, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. We live in the most abundant time on the planet, the greatest country ever. You can have the most freedom, do whatever you want, be whatever you want. Unbelievable. You can be free to put a bone in your nose. Decide you're a girl if you're a boy. You can decide all this stuff, and nobody's going to put you on a spear or even keep you from going to school. The most freedom ever, but people are more depressed than ever. Why? It's upside down. It doesn't make any sense. I'm really going to, it's kind of like looking at a little kid that I want, and the kid gets everything they want, and they're depressed. Why? I want. Okay, here, have it all. Be rich, so rich you can't. It's just unbelievable. Here, all this, and we are depressed or anxious or whatever it is. And I'm not putting it down. I'm glad people get help. Obviously, like every other human being listening to this, knows people, has people, or is themselves taking stuff. I'm not putting that down. I think it's wonderful. It's amazing that we have all this stuff. But why, as a society with such abundance, such freedom, such health care, are we taking more than ever, that we need more than ever? Why? See, it's like all upside down. Masculinity is bad? Look, I'm a guy, so I'm a white guy on top of it, so I'm used to just being like the enemy of the planet, okay? I got it. I'm just glad I've got a couple of daughters and 3 granddaughters that think I'm okay. That I just need some anti-masculine drugs, apparently, to fit the new social norm of the danger of masculinity. Wow. Golly. Man, are people wacky. I mean, off the charts wacky. I mean, is anybody outside of the flyover? I mean, like, for example, is anybody outside of the Beltway? Or inside the Beltway? New York City, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. Is anybody normal there? Anyone? Is anyone on a college campus normal? It just seems so weird and upside down. And Max, bail me out here, will you please? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good morning, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Now, as much as that we all really love Kevin Miller, it is great not to listen to another one of his reruns.
Okay.
Thanks for filling in for him.
Hey, it's my pleasure, and I should also thank Kevin. It's a challenge to do 3 hours, but I embrace that challenge.
Well, let's hold on tight and take the ride together, shall we?
All right, I like it.
Did you see the president's speech last night at Say Yes?
Yes, I did.
All right. You know what really struck me about the speech, and maybe you will agree, didn't he look what the Democrats would call presidential?
Frighteningly so, in their mind. He looked in charge and presidential. Serious.
And he read from a teleprompter. He didn't go off on a tangent. He stayed on track.
Yes, agreed. He was.
And but you know what was disturbing was the response from Chucky Schumer and Pelosi. There was not one specific in their response. It could have been written a month ago.
It was. It was not a response to what the president said. It was in spite of what the president said. That was always, it didn't make any difference what the president said. That's what they were going to say.
I was also pleased to see the networks. The networks gave them equal time, literally. 10-minute speech, 10 minutes to respond. And Sean Hannity showed some doctored pictures of those two as they stood at their pulpit trying to look, important. And it really was like a skit or a sketch from Saturday Night Live.
I think I heard that line somewhere in the evening, and I had to say, I used to love Saturday Night Live. I mean, I loved watching, still love watching the old ones. I've obviously, when it's all political now, I just don't watch it ever. But you catch clips, right? And I think that looks exactly like they do, right?
Gone are the days of Chevy Chase, Jane Curtin.
Yes, you're
John
right.
Belushi. Like you said, now it's all. I haven't watched it since I came back to America. I really haven't.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I didn't watch it since I've left America.
Yeah,
so that's been over 25 years.
Isn't it crazy? It was good back then. I remember one time, it's just kind of telling a story, about Kevin early on, and Kevin was talking about something, and, he likes to come up with things. I don't know what he's going to talk about, but he tries to poke at me and get me going, and he turned around, because you'll remember this line, because it was every week, right? And I said, so I borrowed a line from that, and I said, "Kevin, you ignorant slut." And we obviously had quite a little chuckle over that, but that was one of those. It was Jane Curtin, and wasn't it Chevy Chase that said that to her every week when they were doing the news?
Yeah, I think, was it Chevy Chase, or was it? No, I think it was Dan Aykroyd said that.
It was Dan Aykroyd. You're right. That's right. Yeah. Anyway,
we are aging white men.
We are the enemy of the planet, and I show it with every memory, right? But to me, that also, I only bring it up for this. This is everybody. We're off track for this, but we're not. It was fun then. It was fun then. We had fun with each other. We had fun with each other.
Steve, you ignorant slut. I want you so badly.
Oh, yes, I hear you. But it's one of those things where we used to have fun with it. Everything you said didn't have to be couched like, what did you mean by that? It was an obvious joke to the whole wide world. I mean, yeah, we want to not walk around offending people, but I've talked about this many times. If you look for offense, you'll find it. And it's not something we should be looking for everywhere we go, because guess what? You're going to find it. And it isn't going to help anybody. Anyway, Max, I appreciate it.
I've been long enough out of the country not to be infected by the disease of political correctness.
Yeah.
So people find me a little brash, a little coarse, a little rough. And you know what? Honesty is honesty. And if you couch it too much, it becomes dishonesty.
Yeah. All right. Hey, by the way, real quick, Ray had a real good point here. These have not been, as Ray points out, they have not been Kevin reruns. I appreciate the compliment, Max, but these were all fresh cuts. And I know that because I was one of those cuts, right, Ray? We came in last week and did one. It was kind of a personal look. Has that played yet? Yeah, it did. Okay, so anyway, look for those. And they were Kevin spent a lot of time getting those put together. So they are not reruns this go around. Okay?
Take care, buddy.
Max, take care. Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. You have a great day. And our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you prefer, it's Dave at PetsoFinancial.net. Got to take a quick break, Mac. You hang on. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go ahead and take to the phones. Let's go to Matt. Matt, thank you for holding. Go ahead, please.
Hey, no problem. Hey, I just wanted to touch on that masculinity topic.
Yeah.
Last night after the presidential's deal on the address the nation and everything, I was watching the news. Almost the news immediately right after his thing just started attacking him. Every news source that I could find was attacking him. But so I switched it over to Newsmax TV, and then they had Bill O'Reilly on the phone, and Bill O'Reilly said something that kind of bothered me. I thought the president did a very fine job of addressing the nation, and I took him serious. I don't know how people couldn't. But Bill O'Reilly said he should have got more emotional when he was delivering that topic, and I just found that very strange. I was kind of wondering if you could touch up on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a place to do that. If emotion is there, it's raw, it's real. I thought I felt that a little bit when he was talking about holding the families, being with the families of people who have been killed by gangs and things like that. It felt real to me. It didn't feel conjured up. Like, I see if I can get a tear out of here on this and really score points. I don't get that impression at all. I think he's about as raw as anybody I've ever seen, certainly on TV, where you would think you would be making up things. So I didn't get that. I don't get what Bill O'Reilly was saying. I don't know that he was necessarily knocking the president as far as substance. He was just saying he didn't like the delivery as much. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, he was commenting on saying that he should have used a little bit more emotion while emphasizing the fact of what has happened over the weekend with that officer being slain by an illegal immigrant.
Yeah,
and several other sources that he did cite, and he was expecting more of an emphasis behind that statement, saying that, "Come on, guys," or something like that. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not presidential to me.
Right.
But your topic on masculinity, and I was like, I think it's more time than ever that we need to be more masculine in this area. It's kind of gotten so soft over the years. I've seen it here in little old Idaho, and it bothers me that some people can get the bravery to walk around dressed like they do, and not what I find hard is how people can't take comments on the way they look, but yet they go out and dress in a certain situation that they do.
I had opportunity. A friend of mine shared this. She had has a lesbian daughter, and they were traveling together, and off to, I can't remember. Anyway, they were in an airport, and somebody had come by and said, referred to her as a he. And she turned to her mom and was very offended. And she said to her daughter, if it offends you, then quit looking like a boy. Because she had shaved her head and did that. And that's fine. It wasn't offensive to her mother that she looked that way. She was just making a comment. Don't be offended if people don't know your gender if you don't look like your gender, right?
Yes, sir.
It just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? Or, why would you make me react and try to figure out what's going on? I don't know. I can't tell. She kind of, I don't know. What do I do? And so it is a hard thing. It's kind of like, I guess we give up with babies all the time, right? We just don't, because nobody's offended that you say, how's the little boy? That's a little girl. Okay, well, whatever.
But they sure do get offended when she's breastfeeding in public.
Anyway, I think that I think we're too easily offended for sure about everything. I don't know what Bill O'Reilly was saying, and I thought the president was very straight up, straightforward, moving forward. He offered up a meeting the next day. He has had 3 offers. The Democrats don't show up. My hope, my feeling, but I'm an optimist, is that the Democrats are way overplaying their hand. They don't want border security, never have. And so otherwise they wouldn't continue to vote down everything. And they do. They just keep voting it down. The only thing I wish the president would have done last night is I think that he should have, instead of saying that these are the same things that Chuck Schumer had asked for, I would have loved to have him say, let me introduce you to their statements. Here's what Barack Obama said. Here's what Hillary Clinton said. here is what Chuck Schumer said. So I'm not sure what they're going to say here in a few minutes in their rebuttal, but here's what they said about a wall 3 years ago. But now that I need to build a wall and it's gotten worse, they're suddenly against it. So I that's what I wish they would see, because they don't see that on mainstream media.
I agree.
Okay, Matt, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You have a great rest of the day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. R&R, you hang tough. We got to take a break here for Fox News, and when we come back, you're up to bat, and we have 3 lines available at 580-KIDO. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you prefer email, that's fine. For today, anyway, let's use Dave at petsofinancial.net. Petso is P-E-T-S-O. It's not the sauce. P-E-T-S-O financial.net is the email if you prefer it. Okay. And otherwise, give us a call at 580-KIDO. R&R, thanks for waiting. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Dave Petso, I'd like to ask you a question about investment.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back to Idaho, I put everything in a living trust, and I try to keep my taxes down as much as possible. So pretty much a brutal year last year for investment for all of us there. I'm approaching 70. Here's my question. My PERS, my 20 years of employment in another state, I'm thinking about opening that up, investing it out. And that would, to me, that would be new money I don't want to pay taxes on, double taxes.
Yeah. Well, now, wait a minute. You have a retirement plan with
Which
another
I haven't
state.
Opened, yeah. And it only pays a couple of % per year because it's set and idle.
Okay, but you're
I'm
almost
of age
70. How come you're not getting income from it yet?
Because I don't like money. but I got many grandchildren. So my concept was I'd open it up. And is there some advice that if I start? Yeah. So I start taking money out of my state income retirement plan and I put it into my living trust.
Okay.
And for like an education purpose for my kids so they can get higher education, my grandkids.
Okay, those are a bunch of separate questions. Let's start here,
Right.
Okay? All right. So when you're talking about you're nearly 70 now, but let me make sure I understand this. So it's not really like a state retirement plan. What you have sounds like more like a 401k, something like that.
No, it was a state. It's from the state of an adjoining state. It was 20 years of service, and I'm living on Social Security.
But you do
like
not get a monthly check from the state?
I don't want to. I don't. I want to take that money and put it into a living trust. So.
Okay. I'm not sure why you want to put it in a living trust versus taking the income. I think it needs to be looked at before.
Don't want the money and don't want to pay the taxes. I'd rather give it to my grandkids for future use for schooling.
Okay. I still would have to look at now. Maybe the best answer is to draw the income and immediately put it away for the grandkids. I don't know. Rather than taking a lump sum out, I can't recommend you just without seeing it to say okay, what you should do is call them and get a lump sum settlement. I don't know that that's the case, even for the objective you're talking about. So I think it needs to be evaluated. So let me start there. Then the next thing, as far as that goes for kids, for higher education and all, man, I'll tell you what, the 529 plans are fantastic because the money grows tax-free. It comes out tax-free when it's used for education. And if a kid doesn't go to school, that money can roll over to another kid. I mean, you can keep going. So I would look at the state 529 because you do also get a state tax deduction for that as well. So I think that's probably a great place to be thinking about putting that money. That doesn't take away what you're doing with your trust and leaving money for your grandchildren. That's just a different way to fund the education piece that you're talking about.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Keep on.
All right.
Brother.
Thanks, R&R. You have a good day.
Yep.
Bye now. And our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I know we got one more break to take in this hour, but before we do, I also think that one of the things when we're talking about this whole thing, just this whole weirdness that just seems to be everywhere, right? Just bizarre. A guy gets up and wins a Golden Globe Award, but he can't stop himself from beating on Dick Cheney, calling him Satan. You know, it's just gotten to be not civil as well as upside down and weird. I just won an award, and I just thank you so much, and now let me rip on somebody politically. Why? Why such anger? I mean, you're at the top of the world. Why such anger? And so I asked that question again, too, because I think it's maybe related. I don't know. Why are we so discontented when things are really so good? Because they really are. I mean, it's kind of to not see the abundance, the amazing gifts we've been given to be alive in this time is to be completely ignorant, intentionally so, to immerse yourself in incorrect things. It's just to ignore the facts. If the fact, don't show me the facts. I've already made up my mind. That's what that's like. And when we do that, whether it's from the far right or the far left, we lose that perspective. So it's not just a situation where you can sit there and say the left has lost their collective minds. We all know that. I mean, you just watch the media. They're not journalists at all anymore. And it's so weird. I mean, why and who watches them? I don't understand. Because it's a race of stupidity, of nonsense, and it just makes I don't understand. I keep thinking they'll blow up, but they don't. They don't. So there are people that watch, but it distorts all of our perspective of how great things are out there. Markets have normal corrections. We went through one. Is it done? I don't know. I know, and I know you want to know. Well, if you don't know, why would I ever have you invest money? We don't know. And there's plenty of people out there telling you they do, and they haven't been right. Because you can't be right. And when we run in fear and we don't understand how great the world is, how abundant it is, we look at market corrections as some kind of a really big deal, really big problem. And then we need to go buy some kind of equity indexed annuity or something that, promises market returns without risk, which we know isn't true. But we run after things that we know in our heart aren't true because we love those guarantees. That's why we have to have the right perspective of where we're at, where the world is really at. Yeah, it's upside down. It's crazy. It's insane. Socially bizarre. But abundant. It is. Our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I've got to take a quick break here. Doug, hang on, and we will be right back after this break. Hello, and thank you. Yes, Dave Petso sitting in for Kevin today. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Hopefully we won't destroy, although our engineer in there, Ray Amaya, also known as Scotty, is having a hard time, as we were just talking about. Every day there's something wrong with the Starship Enterprise in there, every show. Yeah, that was true, right? Yeah, Scotty was, at the last minute, we would get the engines running. Anyway, our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to a very patient Doug. Doug, thanks for waiting. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Dave. Dave, my wife has a deferred variable annuity. Had it for a decade or more. The annuity company has offered to buy out the annuity for about a 10% premium on the account value. and I'm wondering, we don't need the money now or in the real near future. We're in our late 60s. Wondering what you would recommend.
A careful analysis of that.
Okay.
It really is. It's dependent on a number of things. And Doug, it's great. I'm glad that you got this offer because obviously it'll maybe pay you back some of the high fees that those have, right?
Exactly.
By getting 10% more. But there's a reason that they're doing that. There's a provision in there. They're trying to buy the risk. They have to reduce the risk on the corporate balance sheet. It's a very big thing. And right now, there's in fact a huge blow up in the industry with a company called Ohio National that's wanting to buy these out and stop paying commissions, all these things. So these things are really beginning to roll around the industry again. But what it really points out is you really need to know what you're doing, hire somebody that does to do the analysis and talk through based on what your objectives are, your tax situation, et cetera. But, hey, it also depends if this is qualified or non-qualified, meaning is it in an IRA?
Yes, it is an IRA.
Okay, then you don't have to worry about it, whether you need the money or not. Then you can roll it out with the bonus. So in that sense, that's great. We don't have to worry about the tax impact because it's zero at this point. So it might make sense.
If I accept the buyout.
If you accept the buyout, or, the money's sitting there, right? So I'm going to just make up a number and say you've got $100,000 sitting in the account. They're going to pay you $110 to go away. The reason they're paying you $110 to go away is, well, now we need to examine that. Why? I mean, do we have a better deal? Because what you ought to be doing is taking income for life because it makes sense to. It may not. It may be something as simple as the company is needing to get some of these off the books through a buyout because the balance sheet is too leveraged. Not that you have this unbelievable deal that they're trying to trick you out of. That could be too. So I think you need to be aware and have it analyzed, okay?
Okay. I appreciate your time, Dave.
You got it. Doug, thank you. Actually, great question. This is coming up a lot. Like I said, there's a number of companies out there that are blowing up. And so this is really coming out. So glad you called.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
You got it. Have a good day now.
You too. Bye.
Bye. And our number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And once again, if you prefer email, please do so. It's dave@petsofinancial.net. Good buddy of mine is going to be in an hour or so, at the 8 o'clock hour. We talked for a little bit about small business. Dan Long, who started A1 Plumbing. Many of you who have been hanging around KIDO, so to speak, listening for really a long time, decades perhaps, will remember Dan. He was on with John and Chris a good deal. And so we'll have him on here. I love talking to Dan. He's a good pal of mine and always has something upbeat and smart to tell us about what's going on in small business. So I'm looking forward to that. Not in the next hour, in the following hour. Looking forward to, in the next hour, more phone calls from you. But I also want to bring this up, and I do think it's important for us to be thinking about and contemplating. Why is everything so downbeat, number one? Number two, why is everything so upside down? I mean, good guys are bad guys, and bad guys are good guys. It just doesn't make sense. Where did we come in a world where masculinity, according to the American psychological whack job, I'm sorry, I don't think they call themselves whack jobs, do they? They are, though, doggone it. Who the heck thinks that there's something wrong with masculinity? Huh? I dare you, huh? Gee whiz, what's wrong with people? Makes me crazy. All right. We'll be back after the Fox News at the top of the hour, and hopefully we'll be visiting with you. Thanks for tuning in. Dave Petso sitting in for Kevin Miller. We'll be right back.